should be here. Let us know if you guys can see us, hear us, all that good stuff. Let us know if you guys apologies for the delay. Let us know if you guys apologies for the delay. And we're up. And we're dancing. And we're up.
Could be serious.
We're dancing. And we're up.
Could be serious.
We're dancing.
Series stream here.
Could be serious.
And girls. Series stream here.
Could be serious.
And girls. Series stream here.
Could be serious.
Good deal. Okay. We're live. Good deal. Technical difficulties starting off here, but we figured it out. Technical difficulties starting off here, but we figured it out. Technical difficulties starting off here, but we figured it out.
I think all it meant is we just had more time to drink. I think all it meant is we just had more time to drink. I think all it meant is we just had more time to drink. I think all it meant is we just had more time to drink.
Streaming is
I think
easy.
all it meant is we just had more time to drink.
Streaming is
I think
easy.
all it meant is we just had more time to drink.
Streaming is easy. Pinball is not. Streaming is easy. Pinball is
Okay.
not.
Hold please.
Streaming is easy. Pinball is
Okay.
not.
Hold please. I am going to. I am going to. I am going. All right. Is that better? Okay. Now, I just get to listen to myself, which is great. Okay. Yep, I think we're okay. Is everyone hearing us okay without the echoes? Would you say, Jeff?
I'm getting some static out here. Like, maybe it's just me though.
No, I got it too.
You guys are getting static. That could possibly just be the software we're using. Is it bad for you guys? Echo went away, getting distortion from my mic. Okay, we're figuring it out. This is so easy. If I turn... Jeff is really quiet.
I can bring my mic a little. Not that close.
I got your levels here, so if you guys want to talk, I'll mess around with it.
How's that sound? Any better? Check, check.
Everyone watching, thanks for bearing with us.
Yep.
New show blues, knocking out the gremlins, just like pinball.
It's something digital sample rate related. Okay. Not clipping.
I hear a crackling when you talk, Kyle.
Yeah,
Yep, you're the only one.
everyone hears crackling when I talk.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have gotten the Costco microphone.
He's probably got the best mic here.
That's why it sounds like crap. I got the Amazon special.
I could just always unplug my audio interface and replug it in.
My mic sound all right? Loud, clear, no echo?
You're good, man.
Cool.
Taking these off.
Yeah. Rebel.
So, Aaron, while we wait, what are the next 5 games that you're working on?
Bootleggers.
Okay.
Gonna make the portable pen work again.
Okay.
Is this better?
I'm gonna get Jack Danger's Dead Flip game flipping.
It's
It's
3.
right. It's right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
Is the static on now, guys?
No, that's better.
great.
You're good.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool. We fixed it.
The game that's right here, just off camera.
Oh, that game.
I want to hear about
And-
that game at some point.
Okay, Aaron's nice and loud. Kyle, say something.
Something.
Good. Jeff,
Hello?
Ernie,
You ain't got this shit working yet?
and okay, we're live. Saturday night.
Saturday night on a Monday.
I had to really think, is it Saturday?
Saturday night on.
Oh my god.
It's always Saturday at Fast HQ. Hey.
Gosh, what a mess. Thanks for bearing with us, everybody. Really appreciate you hanging around.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
A little bit of first-time technical difficulties here. This is our first time doing a multi-person, like, podcast-style type of thing. And we're using some new software stuff, and I'm not familiar with it yet. We'll get there.
Just a huge shout out and thanks to Mr. Kyle Reed over there, because he spent a lot of time the last few weeks setting everything up and getting us all going.
Yeah, I just got here.
Brain fog.
I appreciate that. It's all about the friends in the community, and that's why I invited you guys to be part of this journey with me. You're the only people I know out there, including Nick and Alex, who aren't here yet, who I think can really make this dream become a reality. So wanted to first start off by saying welcome, everybody, to our first ever live stream. This is going to be a progressive, like, weekly series on Monday nights where we're going to work on developing, designing, building a game together that we fully intend to make open source and available to the public, so that you guys can also follow along and build your own version of this game with us. In the end, once we get to a place where we feel the design is complete, we will take that, we will do some post-produced follow-along videos, and then you guys will be able to, like, second by second, watch every single part of assembly of what we consider to be our favorite open source pinball machine, which will be the first ever open source pinball machine that I'm aware of. So yeah, thank you for hanging out with us. This is going to be a journey, and it's not just about, like, what we're doing to make an open source game. It's about the community, and we really want to build a movement here and get a lot of people into this hobby of homebrew, make it more accessible for people who may have said in the past, like, that's kind of a daunting endeavor. There's a whole lot of things that go into making a homebrew pinball machine, and I'm not quite sure that I can do every one of them. Well, we're here to help kind of bridge that gap wherever we can, make things a little bit simpler on the difficult parts in between. So if anyone has any questions, comments, or anything that they want to do to help contribute, throw ideas out there, please feel free, put it in chat, join our Discord, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. If you want to help support our endeavor, you can subscribe to us on Patreon or make a donation through PayPal. But off the bat, we're all volunteering our own time for this. We're all volunteering our own funds and money to make this happen. We're not expecting the community to fund this machine. We are doing it ourselves, and we appreciate any and all support that you guys want to provide to help keep this endeavor going. With that said, just open it up to a quick round table. Does anyone have anything they want to say?
You nailed it, man.
Cool.
Community. This is just another way to connect with people, I think we've done so many great in-person at show experiences that a chance to find ways to weave in other people that are interested through mediums like this is an incredible way to connect with even more people interested in possibly acquiring the disease that is homebrew pinball that we all enjoy so much.
Great. Cool. Well, I appreciate that, Aaron, and I guess we'll start off with the first segment here. Really want to get kind of a team introduction out of the way so that everyone has an understanding of who we are, what we bring to the table, and our own visions for this project. So I'm going to kind of go around the room. I know we're missing 2 members right now, but you can meet them at our next stream, and we'll speak to them a little bit. But I'll start off with Ernie here. So Ernie, just a couple questions. Want to get kind of your own perspective on your life, what got you into pinball and everything like that. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you into pinball.
Yep. So I've always been a tinkerer, very good at diving into things head first and not seeing how deep the pool is before I dive in. And normally figuring out how to fumble my way back up to the surface and being able to swim through it. So for me, being that pinball is kind of a mix of absolutely every single skill and hobby that I could do. So electrical, mechanical, art, code, just general badassness, if that's a word, just because it's the funnest thing that I've ever done. Got into pinball probably 2019-ish. Started off with virtual pinball. Built a machine. Had fun with it. Went to some local pinball arcades and found out that virtual pinball, and nobody shoot me for this, but virtual pinball sucks compared to real pinball. Maybe sucks is a hard word, but it's not as fun, not as exciting. So from there, I started looking at machines to purchase. Machines are expensive, so I was like, man, maybe I can just build one. Bought a torn down Gottlieb touchdown to retheme, and I don't know what I was thinking with that, but I was just got it cheap and was like, okay, let's do it. And then found out that was no fun, and then decided to jump in fully into scratch build. Connected with a few people on Strictly Custom, who kind of got me started with some like 3D printed files. Greg Brault, who did Beer Fest. So me and him, I started just probably a month or so after he did, and he had a bunch of files created for like lower thirds and stuff. Started off with that, and I guess the rest is history.
Cool. So what are some of your past homebrew pinball projects, for people out there who may not have seen your awesome work?
So started out with League of Legends, and then I did, I think, Beavis and Butthead next, but it could have been Vox Machina. They both were kind of around the same time. Then started Adventure Time, and then the one that was at Expo with me was Monsters Inc., and also working on finishing a project that somebody else started called Mothership. It's just a really small pinball machine that fits in the corner of a room. So,
it fits in the corner of a neighborhood.
Just a small pinball machine.
Yeah, for people I don't know, the Mothership is almost a full 4 foot by 8 foot sheet of plywood. Not quite a full sheet, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, it's a pretty incredible machine. It's got some neat mechanics. It's got pneumatic actuation of the flippers and some of the other mechanical components in it. So pretty neat. And if you didn't get a chance to play that at Expo, I imagine it'll be there again next year, Ernie.
It'll be there next year, and it'll be done by next year. It better be done because it needs to be out of my garage. But yeah, when it is finished, it's going to be at Pastimes Arcade. So if you're out at Robert's Arcade in Ohio, it'll be there and on playable and on display.
Cool. Well, thanks, Ernie. We'll keep moving this along. Jeff, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into pinball.
Sure. I started getting into pinball at a really young age. My step-grandmother had a Gottlieb Universe, and that kind of sparked my love for pinball. I've since bought at least one or two of those Gottlieb Universe machines. My first kind of arcade encounter with a pinball machine was Totan. To this day, my absolute favorite game. It's a work of art, and despite all the history of some designers, it's important to remember that designers are awesome. They're not always awesome at business, but 2020 time frame opened up an arcade in Bay City, Michigan, Crazy Quarters Arcade, and that really, I'd say it kicked off my love for pinball, but what it really did was justify the hoarding of pinball. So now I've got entirely too many machines. We've got about 80 on the floor, and it really kind of pushed me to say, you know, these are machines I love, and I'd love to create one. And I took all of the ideas I had and some mindset that just because something has been done one way for a long time, it doesn't need to be done that way in the future. And I made Enigma. That was a kind of a 3-month project. I've got a long way to go on code. I've got a few things left to do there, mechanically, adding an upper playfield and a ramp, which I pretty much got done at this point. Yeah, I've since started on 2 more homebrew machines, and I'm working on some various projects throughout the community to try to give back a little bit. This being one of them, so really pumped to be on this team, and really excited to get this thing launched.
So you caught the bug. You built one game, and you're now in the process of building 2 more. So pretty cool.
Yeah, I got to channel my inner Ernie.
Yeah, Ernie can somehow crank out a machine every night in his sleep. It's incredible.
He's built 2 while we're on this call.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, and Jeff, with Enigma, you brought some really cool ideas to the table with experimenting with new substrates. For instance, you, sorry, catch my breath after that sip of bourbon. Yeah, that was a hot one. So you were looking at bamboo as a substrate in Enigma, and I got to see that as you machined it out and then got it printed and clear coated, and it is really a cool idea that we haven't seen in pinball, and that's neat to see. And then also your integration with the Nixie tubes is also a big push forward for integrating different platforms into MPF and finding cool new ways to bring old technology into modern pinball. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and I know I've got a playfield coming for Ernie for Monsters Inc. We're gonna bamboo that thing too, and then we've got one other guy on the Discord that wanted a bamboo playfield. So we're gonna push a few of these out. Yeah, but the Nixie tubes were pretty tough to integrate, but they were fun. And then I've got those rotating pop bumpers and kind of that diverter setup. That's a pretty cool thing too. So excited to get that thing done for Expo next year.
Cool. That's awesome. All right.
Yeah, he says.
Yeah, he's the next one.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I guess let's move on to our celebrity, the guy who is always signing autographs at just about every single show because he puts out award-winning games just about every year somehow. Kyle, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into pinball.
That's right. So you're welcome for being here, right? No, I'm joking. So 2 things right off the bat. Number 1, no Kyle Reed, no PinForge pinball, right? So this is his brainchild. I'm super enthusiastic, tickled to be here, right? This is exactly what I would have wanted when I started a couple of years ago. Number 2, no Ernie Silverberg, no Mud Flaps pinball, no Friday the 13th, no Big Trouble in Little China pinball. So Ernie, I contacted him. So I've been doing pinball for like 15 years, whatever. You know, I bought a couple games. I had no idea what I was doing, and then once I figured out what I was doing, I started to restore. I started to kind of fix them up. I started, like what's next? Okay, I'll just go build one. That can't be that hard, right? Ernie drops out of the sky. He's like, "Hey, I'll sell you a kit. You can make a game." I'm like, "Okay, that shouldn't be too hard." So I think what we're trying to do here is to give you guys the tools, everybody who's on chat and who's watching, is to give you the tools that I think that we wish that we had starting out. So our goal is to have you follow along with our journey. And if there's something different you want to do, you want to incorporate something that's just you, that's okay. If you want to just do what we're doing, that's okay too. So I reached out to Ernie. I'm like, "Hey, I'd really love to build my own game." He's like, "All right, well, here's a kit." And the greatest thing about custom pinball, about homebrew pinball, is the community and that we collaborate. I could not have done this by myself, right? There is so much stuff there's woodwork, there's the layout, there's wiring, there's code, there's all this stuff. And if you have no idea what you're doing, that's okay. You're in the right place. I never crimped anything in my life. I had never coded anything in my life before I started Friday the 13th. Why Friday the 13th? Because I'm a child of the 80s and I grew up in the arcade and I grew up in the video store. So those are the kind of themes that I dig, right? So I did Friday the 13th. I did well at Texas Pinball Fest. I was exhausted. I'm like, I'm never doing that again. But I'm driving home. I'm like, I could do one more. So I got home and I immediately started to sketch it out. I never met Aaron Davis, who I'm sure will dominate the rest of this call with his witticisms. But so I talked to Aaron at Texas Pinball Fest, and man, what an ambassador of the community. So I built Friday 13th on a different board system, but after talking to Aaron, I'm like, dude, it's fast all the way. So Big Trouble in Little China was born after just me going to a show, bringing my game, and then kind of figuring out how to do a different board system. And I wanted to make everything that I did with my first game just a little bit better. So what's next, right? So I'm super enthusiastic that Kyle has started this wonderful adventure with us. I can't wait to see what everybody's going to do. I'm working on 3 more games right now. So number 1 is the game that we're doing collaboratively that Kyle will talk about later. Number 2 is a game that my company asked me to do. They found out that I make my own pinball machine. So they're like, hey, can you make one for some of our trade shows and stuff? So I'm working on that one. And then I'm working on a 3rd one. I just signed my artist today. I'm looking at it right now, and I can't wait to show that one off. But that's not what it's about today. Today is about PinForge and what Kyle and Ernie and Aaron and Jeff and Alex and Nick are ready to bring to the table. So appreciate you having me on. I can't wait to see what everybody's doing and answer a bunch of questions. Thanks.
Thanks, Kyle. Yeah, I appreciate the kind words. And I mean, I try to be a modest person, but I will say, like, this was kind of my brainchild. I was sitting in the chair watching some DIY YouTube videos one day and thinking to myself, why don't we have something like this for homebrew pinball? Like, I've been doing this journey for the past few years myself, and a lot of it's been a struggle to keep myself not only motivated, but also, like, keep digging deeper into another, like, skill or whatever. So whatever we can do to make this more accessible for people, make it easier for people, that's the end goal here. Okay, let's move on to the next most important person. Aaron, tell us a little bit about yourself, tell us how you got into pinball, and a little bit about your company.
And how you became a fucking legend.
Dude.
There's the first F-bomb.
Oh my gosh.
30 minutes in, you got it.
I gotta say, like, I feel like with this group, I get to hang out with the cool kids that build all the cool stuff. I get to go and play. So I forgot the question already. Let's see, getting into pinball. Like, pinball's
Just
been
talk
around.
about yourself, man.
Yeah, my name's Aaron. I like to make things exist. My software career before doing pinball, I was a platform builder. So I thought, man, I'm tired of doing software. I want to do something different. So we got into electronics with Dave Beecher and I, like starting Fast Pinball to build a pinball machine. And instead, I fell into my old habits and focused on building a platform. And we hit the intersection of, like, you know, the maker movement right at the right time. We had access to tools we've never had before. We just want to build and make things. And I think that that's what I love most. I'm the guy that got into pinball wanting to make pinball machines and instead built a platform, has built 0-hole pinball machines myself. But as I'm reminded all the time, I get to be an encouraging, supportive part of a lot of really incredible projects all over the world. So when I got reached out to by all these fine folks about, like, participating in this project, I was like trying to play it cool. Like, you know, yeah, I can help. But I was like, this is awesome. Like, the idea to be in the trenches, building cool stuff with cool people is why we do homebrew pinball. Like, it's absolutely incredible. We need this in our lives, you know? So this project, I don't know if we were even live yet, but I think that this is the kind of project that, like, people need. You know, we want to build and make cool things. People that come to the shows get to see it all in real time, and it's contagious. And I think that an experience like this, a shared journey where people can take maybe you meet me at a show and I go, this is so awesome, you should totally do it. You can do it. And they go, yeah, back off. We'll buy your boards, but like back off. But I think that watching this journey proves that like you can get there from like literally being some random dude just like the rest of us who needs something to do and can dive into a project, find a community like this, and build some cool stuff. So I don't know if this has answered a question or not. Is that good enough? Am I off the hook now?
No. I mean, that's a great answer. I would say, and
that's a me answer.
Can correct me if I'm wrong here, but Aaron is one of the biggest advocates for homebrew pinball that you will ever meet.
Aww.
He has done an extremely great job creating a community of people, not only around his product, but around the homebrew space. I mean, that is the reason why I think a lot of us have chosen to use Fast in our creations, is because of the community and the level of support that the Fast team has. It's a team, it's a family, it's not a corporation. And the support is just unparalleled. So
it's a labor of love. I mean, we love, like, every time we go to the shows, it's like the chance to see what people built and made, you know. And I think that like anytime somebody like reaches out, like tentatively, it'd be like, hey, you know, should I come to the show? My project's really not as refined as, you know, Kyle Smet's games. Like, his games all look incredible. Mine's just a whitewood. Should I even go to the shows? We remind people, it's like, get it out there and be a part of the experience. Like, because Kyle Smet might come over and like tell you how to make your game better, you know? I mean, you never know. But I think that more than anything, like, it is community. It is like, you know, I love when we go to these shows, we started doing the Making Pinball, Making Friends talks with the idea selfishly for me, just to like get up on stage and, you know, interview people that I want to get to know better. And I think it's been something that, like, you know, we're all just off the high of going to Pinball Expo. And it's like the biggest homebrew experience that has ever existed on the planet was at Expo this year. Yeah. And I think we all kind of came back and going through a little bit of withdrawals right now. I feel like this is like a medication that I need. You know, it's like, I miss all my friends. I miss the energy. I miss like the spark of new ideas and new projects and stuff. And so that's what I'm most excited about with this, is like, let's see what crazy cool idea somebody brings in that none of us here even thought of before, or some fun new take on something, or someone with a rad new set of tools that we don't currently have that wants to share them with us. That's incredible. So yeah, that's awesome.
Perfect. Well, thanks for answering. I guess I'll speak a little bit to starting off.
Yeah, who are you?
Nick. I'll get to me later, I guess. I want to go over Nick first. So Nick can't be with us because he is currently in the air. But Nick, I met Nick, I want to say, what was that? Maybe a year and a half ago. Jeff was kind enough to invite me and Nick up to his place, which the three of us live kind of local in Michigan. We went up to his place one night and just hang out, played some games, and drank some whiskey. And that's kind of where it started. Like, we had known each other through the Discords before, like, talking to each other, but we were all local and we wanted to meet up. So that's where I first met Nick. Nick is just like a breath of kind of fresh air in a conversation. The guy walks in and he just sparks something different in the conversation. It'll go one direction that you weren't expecting, right? That's Nick. And Nick brings with him this whole background of being mechanical engineer. He has spent endless amounts of time supporting the other homebrewers by helping them do some CAD designs. I know he's helped Ernie with a few of his games. I think he's helped you, Jeff, maybe once or twice. Maybe? I don't know. You could say no. Doesn't.
We've bounced things off each other.
Yeah.
He's certainly the tangent warrior.
Yep. And I don't know who else he may have helped out on this team, but I know he has helped out plenty of other people in the Trident Pinball Discord with designing mechs for their machines. And he brings innovation to the homebrew space with his game, Turbo Time, where he created a fully functioning V8 engine ball lock, where the balls roll up and roll into each of the 8 cylinders, and then it uses a stepper to rev it up and eject them out of all 8 cylinders onto the playfield for multi-ball. So very cool and innovative mech. I remember the first time I saw that spin up when Aaron was at my house and he helped him get it running. and the second you hear that thing crank over, we all like go walking into the next room and be like, what was that? And it's just the coolest thing to see function. So Nick brings that with him. He's good at CAD design. That's also a little bit of a skill set that I bring to the table as well. So we'll be kind of working collaboratively on the CAD elements of this. And then the other one who is not here, I think he's going to show up a little bit late, or maybe not at all. We'll find out. I saw him pop in once while he was in the car. But this is Alex. Alex is a genius when it comes to Mission Pinball Framework, is a good way to put it. He has been, again, a very engaged person in the community, helping people endlessly, like until like 5 a.m. at night when he should be sleeping. He is helping answer MPF questions, and Mission Pinball Framework is MPF, which is essentially a Python-based framework that helps power the homebrew pinball machines in conjunction with different hardware platforms. So I know that Alex, aka Bosch, has just become, I think, a contributor on the MPF GitHub, and he is actively making changes and merges there, but he is also actively engaged in the community, assisting others. In addition to that, Alex built his Trogdor pinball machine, which, if you did not get a chance to play that at Expo, that is a very cool game. It's got some unique shots. Bless you, Kyle.
Thank you.
Got some unique shots and really cool integration of burninating the thatched roof cottages with the pop bumpers, and it's just a cool game. That kind of goes back to when I was growing up, like those little internet meme videos, Trogdor, Homestar Runner. That's the kind of stuff that I grew up with, so it strikes a chord of nostalgia for me. Absolutely.
The crazy thing is, like, Alex has not been in the pinball community long at all. And not only has he stepped up major with Trogdor, but to your point, he helps everyone. It's crazy. At all hours, times you'd expect him to be asleep, he's there helping. Times you think he should be awake, he's there helping. It's crazy. Awesome dude.
Yep. Absolutely agreed.
Kyle, I do want to say really quick that on this call, you've got an engineer, somebody who actively contributes to MPF, somebody who owns their own arcade, somebody who owns the hardware that goes into commercial and custom games, somebody who owns their own company to produce kits and has made, I don't know, half a dozen games, and then you've got another guy. So for those on the call that can't code, that aren't an engineer, you just have passion and you want to be part of this, I'm with you. I got you. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a professional pinball anything. If I can understand it, you can understand it. So you've got some great folks on the call, but if you're not super deep into any of these things, that's okay. We'll get you there.
Yep.
And Kyle probably won't mention this, but he won the best pinball machine at TPF 2 years ago?
Last year.
Or last year, over every other pinball machine that was there, including
Commercial games too.
Yeah, even commercial games. And that was the first time it had ever been done. And at the beginning of that show,
silence leads us to Kyle.
We'll get there.
Talk about
We'll get there.
yourself.
Yeah. We're all helping each other out.
Yeah. You also took home, was it Best in Show this year at Expo with your Big Trouble in Little China?
Yeah. But that we're not here for the awards. We're not here for the recognition. What I'm hopeful that people are here for is that when they go to these shows and they see these games, they go, I want to do that. How can I do that? And that's what this whole thing is all about. How can I do that? We're here to help you get there, right?
Okay, fine. Honest mouse over here.
I'm awesome, okay? All right, there I said it.
Okay, we're good. Get that out of the way.
There you go.
Ernie left us. He probably got mad that you took home awards, and it's been talking all
No,
about
he
you
had to
now,
go
so.
build another machine real quick.
Yeah, he's got. I gotta go build my.
I'm going to get more bourbon.
Oh, I see. Okay. I guess I'll talk a little bit about myself then. My name is Kyle Reed. I got into pinball probably like 2017, 2018-ish. I went stopped by my brother's house downtown where I grew up in my hometown, and I walked in his living room, and there sits a pinball machine. I'm like, where the heck did you get that? And it was a Flight 2000, and I thought it was just the coolest thing that someone could have a pinball machine in their home. And obviously, the second question I asked is, they still make those? You know, that's everyone's response, right? And yes, they do still make those.
Such a cliche!
I know. I also, favorite song, Pinball Wizard. Trying to think what else. So anyways, that's kind of what got like the bug in my head. I'm like, I could have one in my house. And then like I relocated for work down to Cincinnati, and I found another coworker down there who also had like 10, 12 pinball machines in his house, and I'm like, this is insane. So he kind of like twisted my arm and like took me to his local dealer, not like a drug dealer, but like his pinball dealer, and
Almost
I was
worse.
like, oh, there's cool stuff in here. And I decided I was going to buy a F-14 as my first pinball machine. And that game is brutal, but I wanted to kind of get to the point where I could be doing restoring and shop jobs and that kind of stuff on games. And so what I ended up doing was doing like a full restoration on that game, stripped down the cabinet to bare wood, stenciled on new artwork using Pinball Pimp stencils. Every piece of hardware that I could replace in that game with new boards I did, every single post, screw, anything that I could possibly buy for that game and refurbish, I did. So it is new play field, from the ground up, as new, fresh out of factory F-14 as you could have playing. And that is kind of like one of my prideful jobs that kind of got me hooked on the whole aspect of restoring and working on pinball machines. And then from there, bit the bug, bought a bunch of machines, started a friends and family league when I moved back to Michigan, and had always thought about, kind of wanted to do, you know, build my own game. I didn't think it was possible at first, and then someone told me, oh, well, there's hardware out there. Oh, there's Mission Pinball Framework. You start piecemealing all these hints left and right from people that people actually build their own games. And I'm like, that is so cool. I want to do that. And so it was kind of like in the back of my head. And then like 2019, 2020, I finally like committed to, all right, I am going to do a homebrew game. I am going to do it justice. And I picked a theme that shall not be named, but it's a cool theme. I wanted to do it justice. I wanted to build that world under glass, but I wanted to be as creative, unique, and professional looking as I could with my game. So I tried to engineer a lot of different mechs and add a whole bunch of complexity that I really shouldn't have to the game that has caused me nothing but heartache and nightmares. But it's been a fun learning process for me, and nothing helped me with motivation more than having a tight group of friends like these guys to help like encourage me, you know, even through the lows and through the highs. They're there with you to help kind of keep you motivated, and it's the whole reason why I started this group, to help with this project. That's me in a nutshell. Okay, so that is the full round table. You guys can meet Nick and Alex personally on our next stream, but we kind of want to move this along to talking about what we're doing. And I already mentioned earlier, our goal here is to really build an open source pinball machine from CAD to code to bill of materials, everything that the community would need to help them along on their journey of building their own version of this game right alongside us. It's kind of for the people out there who have, been on the fence. Like, it's a lot of work, it's a whole lot of specialties, but if we can help bridge that gap, we're going to do the best we can. A few questions that I saw pop up earlier from Nightwind's Music, find the first one, was how deep of a template are you planning on having, i.e. playfield art templates, placeholder video, etc., or is this more hardware focused? The answer to your question is yes. All of the above. We're planning on not only designing the playfield, the assembly, we're trying to use off-the-shelf components as much as possible, but any like custom metalwork or ramp design, we'll design that, we'll publish the files, we'll say, here's how you can go order them from Send Cut Send or whomever you want to use. And then when it comes to artwork, we're going to essentially release a template file of the playfield, a couple different avenues here, but to start out, we're going to be providing the artwork for our first game while working with, hopefully, a new artist. We'll speak to that a little bit more later. But everything is going to be provided. And then when it comes to code, the assets for sounds, video, the complete code package for our game will be available to the Joe Schmoes out there who are following along in this process. Hopefully that answered that question. When it comes to how you can help as a community, you are a music producer for commercial projects and would be stoked to help with the audio side of things when it gets to that point. I would be open to having discussions. If you want to join our Discord, I believe there should be links in our channel bio. Join our Discord, reach out to us there as admins, and we can start having a little bit of conversations regarding what we want to do regarding music and what the approach would be with this game. We're not that far along yet in this process, but it would still be good to start getting some floaters out there and seeing who might be willing to help. So thank you for the questions. Okay. With that, I want to go to the kind of reveal of what we're going to be doing for the theme. So I was uploading this to YouTube before the start of the stream, but the reason why our stream quality was awful to start was because it was still uploading, so I had to cancel the upload. So I'm going to have to play something locally here. Guys on the call, you probably won't be able to hear it. I'll just give you a nod when it's done. It's that audio file that I shared with you guys a few weeks ago that kind of goes over the synopsis. But I also put a little bit of a video with it too. So I'm going to switch over to a different screen here. And let's go ahead here.
The year is 1928, and Prohibition has choked the heart out of bourbon country. Across Kentucky's backroads, secret stills hum in hidden hollows, and the sweet scent of mash lingers in the fog. You play as Reed Walker, a young mechanic whose grandfather, Pappy Walker, once distilled the smoothest bourbon east of the Mississippi. Pappy's memory is fading fast, and before he goes, he wants you to recreate his secret bourbon recipe, a blend of corn, rye, malted barley, and wheat. The 4 grains of truth, as he calls them. The problem? The government has outlawed distilling, and the mafia, led by Alonzo Big Al Capone, has gotten word that Pappy's recipe could make them millions. To make things worse, federal agent Clarence Holloway is tightening his grip on moonshine country, hunting down stills and roadrunners alike. With your beat-up 1930 Ford truck, you and your ragtag crew hit the open road, trading, bartering, and dodging the law to gather the ingredients before it's too late. Along the way, you'll face broken axles, roadblocks, mafia ambushes, and sticky-fingered gas station attendants. But you'll also pick up loyal friends who share your love for bourbon and freedom. Your mission? Collect the 4 grains. Recreate Pappy's bourbon, outrun the feds, and outsmart the mafia. Because in Bootleggers, every drop of whiskey tells a story, and yours is about to be legendary.
So I'd like to thank Burt Reynolds for doing the audio for us. And
The year is 1928, and Prohibition has choked the heart out of bourbon country.
I just want to
Across
thank the extra beat. Like,
whiskey.
that makes it authentic.
So yes, that is the theme that we kind of drafted together for this first game. As you were able to decipher, it is going to be called Bootleggers. And that is part of the reason why we are partaking this evening together on stream, as well as celebration of our collaboration. But would love to answer any questions on the theme. We don't have like a whole lot of like code or anything like that planned out yet. This is just like a whiteboarded story that we came up with while we were this last April sitting around in my back room drinking a bunch of bourbon trying to think of what kind of a theme should we do. And then it hit us. Like, why not do a Bootleggers type of theme? So we're going to try to do a little bit of throwback to Prohibition era. You will be playing as, right now the character's name is Reed Walker. I don't know why the first name is Reed. Couldn't tell you. But this is going to be kind of our love letter to that era and what we enjoy as friends and whiskey and what brought us all together. So you'll be kind of engaging on a road trip with your friends. This initially started as like an idea of, you know, oh, let's do a Kentucky Bourbon Trail theme and let's get on a road trip in modern day and go hit up all the local distilleries. And then we're like, no. Let's do a throwback here. Let's add a little bit of danger and excitement with the mafia and trying to recreate a whiskey recipe before your old pappy passes away. So that's the goal. Anyone have anything they want to say about Bootleggers?
What's great about for me as an English major, right? I'm not an engineer. I'm not a game designer. So you walk up to a game, as I tell Aaron, who are you and what am I doing? So with Big Trouble, I'm Jack Burton and I'm here to get my truck back. With Jaws, I'm Quint. I'm hunting the shark. Evil Dead, I'm Ash. I'm killing deadites. Alien, I'm Ripley and I'm shooting aliens. Halloween, nobody knows who you are. Are you Michael? Are you Laura? Nobody knows. So when you walk up to Bootleggers, you are this character and you have a goal, but it's a battle because people are trying to stop you from achieving that goal. There's the feds are after you. Al Capone is after you. The mafia is after you. But you have these friends, and even the feds are kind of, maybe they're on your side, maybe not. You have side quests and all this crazy stuff along the way. What a fun theme for the house, for a location. Just it kind of imbues with you that sense of belonging, of having a quest, and it's just fun. So I think this is going to be a really neat theme. I can't wait to get into it.
Agreed. I mean, you spoke to a little bit of like the side quests and stuff too. I mean, you hit on the main points with like your friends and the big baddies, but there's also going to be like little things that you have to overcome on the side. Like, you know, you got a flat tire, or there's a mechanic who wants to try to steal some money from you or something like that. So there's a whole lot of options and opportunity there for us to explore some of those side quests and the things that you're going to have to explore and battle to really get to your end goal of creating that recipe for Pappy. I'm excited about this theme. I don't know about the rest of you guys.
Yeah, there's some great questions here in the chat. You know, will it be a modern kind of a layout with ramps and loops, or will it be a throwback, you know, kind of a street level game? You know, I think we're still litigating a lot of that, but I would hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn, but I would expect a pretty modern rule set and a pretty modern layout with kind of an old school throwback uh, theme and code set, right? It's going to be probably deep-ish, but enough to keep your interest, right? So I think it's going to be a good mix of old school and new school.
Yeah, and we're not going to go super overly complex with code on this initially. Eventually we might get there, but right now our goal and our timeline for this project is to have this completed and a few copies at Expo this next year. So we're going to do everything we can to get code and the game in a very complete state. Um, you know, just like any manufacturer, our first reveal of this game, code might be, 0.90. It won't be 1.0 yet, and that just means that we have more in our vision for this and what we want to do. So, I think there's a lot of potential with this.
So, Kyle, we've talked about, I think, a little bit about what our plans are for this game and what we'd like to do, but how do you see everybody who's on the chat or anybody who might be kind of interested in either following our build or being a part of it? What's their play?
Oh, geez. Well, I think first and foremost, subscribing, following our journey is going to be huge. The more that you can be part of this process with us, be part of the community, engage in conversation, join our discords is going to be huge. But the other part of this too is, we do have a Patreon, we do have a PayPal, and one of the things that we're trying to do with Patreon is for the first two tiers, it's more so like, look, support us. You're gonna maybe get a little kickback here and there after multiple months of being in our Patreon, but the whole point of those tiers is you like what we're doing, you want to help support our journey. Where the opportunity comes for some community input and community feedback is with that third tier, where you would get to potentially vote on some of the features and functionality in the game, or whether or not Aaron should buy some soundproofing, or maybe
I can't sit still.
Maybe potentially a little bit of influence in art direction, things like that. But the other part of it too, something we wanted to bring to the third tier of Patreon is after I think it's like 6 or something consecutive months of engagement in our third tier, there's an opportunity to be immortalized in this game, whether it's in an animation in a video mode or potentially on the artwork, all dependent on timing of when this actually completes. So that's kind of where we want to help the community get engaged. Like, Patreon is completely optional, PayPal is completely optional. Of course, we appreciate any support, but we want you guys to be part of our Discord, be part of the community, chat, ask questions, engage. If there's something that you want to see on a live stream, give us that feedback. If there's something that you want to see in a post-produced video, join us. Ask that question, give us the ideas. We'll take all feedback as constructive and try to bring you the best experience, because ultimately, like I said, this whole project is to bring an open source pinball machine to you. It's to make homebrew more accessible for you. We are volunteering our time. We are paying for this up front out of our own pocket. We're doing this for you.
Just to add to what he's saying is the idea behind the weekly streams is while we'll likely do some of our planning off stream, we'll be doing some of the thought process and building and back and forth and planning on the stream, which we want the viewers to engage in as we're doing it.
I think also too the feedback that we can get, like Kyla said, we haven't done this before too. I mean, this is all of us who are used to noodling around in our garages and workshops and stuff like that, building things. So sometimes we might plow right past a topic that is like second nature to us because we've done it 2 or 3 times already. So the idea that like any topic that we hit on that we might blow past too quickly, like let us know when more detail would be interesting too. because I think sometimes like we don't want to get too far in the weeds, but I think that I've been like called out sometimes on glazing over some topics too quickly, and those are always great chances to like dig in and also learn what the audience that's listening to this really wants to know also.
Agreed. Okay. So the last part of this stream that I think we kind of wanted to talk with, actually there was another one. We can kind of get into this now too. The first thing we wanted to do was document our team member ideas on what features or shots we would like to see in the game personally. And I know Nick had provided his, and I think it was physical multi-ball, if I'm not mistaken.
Physical ball lock.
Physical ball lock. So let me get back up to screen share here. I'll zoom in and we can kind of noodle this out real quick.
We've got one good question I think we should hit on before we jump into this. Borg Dog asked, what does open source mean exactly in this context?
Good call.
Who wants to answer that?
I'll let you answer it. You have a nicer voice than me.
I can grab that, Kyle.
Go for it.
Yep.
So, I think open source in this context means that all of the pieces that make this project work are readily available. Meaning, you'll be able to go get code from a repository. You'll be able to go get the playfield DXF from a repository. Everything will be repository based, so that if you want to make this game, you can go make this game. The idea is there's nothing behind a wall. If you want to make it, you can do so. Now we'll have tools to make things easier in some cases where we might have parts available for certain things, or be able to kind of point you towards resources. But there's no real gatekeeping here, and it'll be available for you to download and go. There won't be licensed art, music, etc. So you'll be able to get those resources, game yourself.
Yeah, just to add on, Board Dog asked art, music, etc. The plan is that the art, the music would all be available to use if you're building this game. We'll have I think we had set up maybe like a special donation. We had tossed around if you wanted help or the files to be able to edit, to add your own art and retheme it, that it'll be an option. But it wouldn't be something that would be like supported from us or just given away in that sense. The other thing I think mentioned is this would be for personal use, not commercial use, and that we've tossed around the idea of licensing to commercial, so to bars and stuff like that. Not a lot of details there, but just throwing that out there. And maybe I shouldn't have thrown that out there yet, but I think it's good to mention.
Yeah, and I know initially we had talked about the third tier of Patreon being like, oh, well, if you pay for this tier, then you get the ability to like edit files, but we moved away from that. We want everything to be completely open source and available. So like when it comes to Bootleggers, the game, like start to finish, packaged open source files, we're providing that. We're providing kind of follow along instructional series on YouTube. Once the game's built, we'll put together post-produced videos to show you like how to build the game yourself. We'll tell you where you can go buy components. We're trying to use as much off-the-shelf components as possible so that there's not a whole lot of like custom things that you have to do. You just kind of assemble a kit, and we'll point you towards resources for, if you want to have the playfield already cut out and printed with artwork and clear coded for you. We'll have some partnerships or just kind of a directional pointing on like, here's a recommended manufacturer, that kind of thing. And then long term, what we kind of see as something we would like to do is creating the ability or the tools for you to be able to modify the artwork, replace sound and video assets in the code, so that you can kind of take this and retheme it to what you want. Now, the support won't be there from us because we have day jobs, we have things that we need to do. We're going to be doing bootleggers, and we're going to do the best we can to provide you the tools necessary to retheme it if you want to. We really want to see kind of a movement of people that are building bootleggers, and like, how cool would it be to show up at Expo, 2027, and there's like 10 copies of bootleggers there or more from people that like decided to follow along and build that game to our standard. Like, that would be, to me, so cool to see that the community saw value in this and then followed along and built their own game.
This is a journey of discovery, really. So that's for me the big asterisk with this whole thing is that if there's one truth to our team coming together is that this game is going to happen. It's going to get built.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to bring it to shows. It is going to happen. So what does that mean for you? For you who chooses to follow along and just watch and see where this goes? For you that wishes to get involved, or for you that wants to be a Patreon to influence the design build of this game. So if you just want to follow along and you want to build your own copy of this game, you are free to do that. This is a there's no licensing issues. There's nothing that we're using that is an existing IP. But if you want to influence the layout, the art, design, something that you see that you really want to be a part of, you can be a Patreon. We can have those kind of inner circle conversations, and we can potentially either add some of your art or design elements to the game, right? Or if you just want to be along for the ride, you don't want to drop a thin dime, that's okay too, right? We are here, as Kyle said, to help proliferate custom games, to help you build the game that you want, whether it's bootleggers or whether you want to take kind of the initial design and kind of go in your own direction, that's okay. For everybody who's following along, we are building bootleggers. We are building bootleggers the way that we want it designed, the way that we have the art, the way that we have the code. You are free to follow along. Again, for the Patreons, you're now part of that inner circle. You're now part of the tribe where you can influence the path that this game takes. And this game can take a lot of different paths. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I can't wait to bring one or several copies of these games to TPF, to Expo, to Southern Fried, to Houston, Northwest, whatever the case may be, just so people can see it, play it, and just have a great time. Because at the end of the day, this is fun, and that's why we do it. It's fun.
Yeah,
I was gonna say too, like, I think a big part of this is also creating something that like you can go and create too. This isn't necessarily going to be like we're inventing things at every step along the way. We're going through and we're creating a process that is supportable and that we can document and that we can share the journey on, so that you could go, if I put myself in their shoes and I followed the instructions and got the same supplies and like used the same tools, I could build what I created here. So I think that that's one of the things that I've seen over the years is like, we made electronics. We're like, cool, go build pinball. And then you find out that like, there's more things. Connectors and pins would be useful. Wiring would be useful. Like Ernie makes kits. That would be useful. The question that we get a lot, like at Fast lately, is there's a user that has reached out that has wanted a project that they could build and finish, like from start to finish, not just, the potential to go and create something, but the idea of like, if I followed some instructions, used some resources, got a starting point with some code, that I could actually go follow those instructions, spend the time, and have a game done in the end. And I think that's really opening this up to the kind of user who is maybe more of your destination focused, like maker, builder, creator, where the idea of meandering and learning just to learn is not their style. The idea of going, I can see what these guys have talked about making. I follow along with the journey. I want to now do that. Now I can follow along with all those steps and maybe get myself to the same end result. And I think that's going to be really attractive to the people that, sometimes the idea of, infinite potential, I can go and create the greatest thing I ever could dream of. Sometimes the dream is hard to focus. So the idea of a project that you can follow along with and actually do is super, super cool, super cool. And I'd say the one other thing too, like with the questions about licensing and IP of assets and stuff like that, like if anything is not clear, just ask. None of this is intended to be like a big mysterious secret or anything. So if there's something like, hey, I want to have this be playing at my kid's birthday party in the background because I like bootlegger themed birthday parties for kids. I want to have this playing in the background. Is there a problem if I'm streaming to my family? Am I going to get a DMCA takedown notice? That gets pretty complicated there, but ask the question anyways, as opposed to living in fear of taking this game to your kid's bootlegger themed pinball machine party.
Another question I've seen a few times now is about the bomb. And ultimately, I think it's important to remember we are looking at off-the-shelf mechs wherever possible. Now, that should keep the cost down a little bit, but we have not determined the overall bomb yet because we haven't really laid out the machine. That will happen real-time, live in front of you. It won't be a mystery. Everybody will get to kind of see where we're going with that. But since we're using off-the-shelf parts, I don't think it'll be absolutely terrible. But if you're looking to get a super cool pinball machine on the super cheap, remember that this is homebrew, and the machine still costs money. The idea that we can create a machine for less than the cost of a commercial machine is a little tough sometimes. It's nice to think that, but things scale in economies. This is still a homebrew effort. Let's see where it goes. We don't have it, nailed down completely yet. As far as that, and then as far as the milestone plan and bringing machines early before Expo, remember that we are a group of volunteers, and though we may be at some of those shows, it may be outside the realm of what we're able to do as a team to build these machines and have them there earlier. We'd love to get these machines in front of people. That's what we want to do. We want to build machines, we want to have cool things, and we want to show them to you. But the goal right now is Expo. If we don't make earlier shows with that machine, it's not because we don't love you. It's not because we don't love the show. It's just things take time, and we'll work through those, and we'll get them out when we can, but we're shooting for Expo.
Yeah, and you'll be kind of kept apprised of where we're at in this process, especially if you follow along in our journey in our streams. We'll discuss, like, timing and any plans to be at shows, whether it's with a game or just to be there and talk on a panel and kind of plug the project. We'll keep you apprised of our schedule there with that, and I myself will work on taking our project plan and trying to get that in some sort of a publishable format so that others can kind of get an idea of what our journey is going to be over the next.
There's a couple of questions continuing about the bomb. Like, is this closer to a Stern Pro? So I'm not going to throw out numbers, but if you have it in your mind where this is going to approach a Stern Premium, plus or minus, you're probably in the ballpark. If it's much cheaper than that, that's fantastic. And as far as the cabinet goes, we are trying to be very traditional. We're not trying to build a goofy cabinet. So I would say kind of a traditional cabinet style is going to be realistic.
Yep, agreed. And we're not going to make any promises with bill of materials. What it turns out to be, it turns out to be. We'll do everything we can to try to find ways that we can partner with, maybe retailers to put together kits that make it easier or something like that. But we don't know what's possible yet.
Yeah,
I'd say also too consider teaming up. I think that a lot of times when people take on a project, they'll do it themselves. But I'd love seeing when a couple friends get together, or it becomes a family project, or maybe you get your kids for Christmas this year a bootlegger's bomb kit and build a pinball machine as a family. You just never know. But man, I would look at it as a time spent collaborative thing, even with friends. Half the time we're looking for excuses for things to do together. How cool would it be if a buddy called them and said, "Listen, you and me, we're building this pinball machine together this winter. Like, get to the house." Like, that would be incredible.
Agreed.
I think.
Cool. All right, let's move on to let's discuss what our individual ideas are for the machine regarding a feature or a shot that we want in the game. I have Nick's already documented. He wants a physical ball lock. Ernie, why don't we go ahead and start with you?
Does it have to be just one, or can I toss two?
We can toss a few and try to incorporate what we can.
Okay.
Use commas.
either a Newton ball, some form of a Newton ball, a kicker target, or some kind of a cross shot would be what I would like to see.
Yep,
Cross shot being similar to like X-Men on Canny or Foo Fighters type, where you're moving from one side to another.
Yep. I'm right there with you. I'm a big fan of crossing shots. I know you and I both have done something similar in our homebrew games. They're fun, and it catches people off guard when they're shooting. Jeff, what would you like to see in a game?
Oddly specific and back to Totan. The shooting star mech on Totan, aka the inlane ball lock. That is the first piece of pinball magic for me, and I would love nothing more than a ball catch that's similar to the shooting star mech. For those on the stream who haven't played Totan, the shooting star mech is basically 6 spikes in kind of a circular format that pop up in the inlane and capture your ball, and just hold it there. It's just an awesome little piece. I love it on my Totan. That's a game that'll never leave the arcade. It's bolted to the floor. Go watch a video. It's awesome.
Kyle Smet.
So for those in the chat and those considering this game, if you're a Patreon, you can influence these types of decisions, right? So we're all part of the inner circle, and we're creating the layout. For me, everybody has a favorite designer. You're a Borg guy, you're an Elwin guy, you're a Richie guy, you're a J-pop guy, Jeff. For me, I'm a Richie guy, and I love my kickbacks. I love my Yagov kicker, right? So for me, if you're being chased by the feds and Al Capone is getting you, imagine shooting a shot and it comes right back at you with that gun sound effect, because they're chasing you. So for me, it's a kickback, which I had on Friday the 13th. I'm like, if I'm making a game, I'm throwing a kickback. I love it.
Gotta love it. I'm a big fan of the egg-off kickback. Like I said, my first game was F-14, and when
Likewise.
that thing hits, it hits.
I love it. You get the sound effect, you get a shaker.
Yep.
But that's what's great about people on the call. Like if they see that shot in their mind and they want to be a part of this, the way to do it is Patreon.
Yep. Agreed. Aaron, what feature or shot would you like in a game?
I was so worried that where Kyle was going was going to take the only idea I could think of. So a lot of my early favorite games were Richie games. So I wanted to have the upper flipper. I'm picturing like you're getting chased and you got to duck out to a hideout or try to evade and stuff like that. So the upper flipper is something I'd really love to see in this game.
And I remember when we were hanging out in April, you had mentioned a repeatable loop off of that upper flipper too.
That'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be good. Can I add one little like sub thing I want to have?
Yes.
Really like sexy, elegant wiring in the game. Want the game to look good under the playfield.
I'm out.
As well as on top of the playfield.
I'm done. I'm out. No.
You mean like
Just give it a try. Just try to wire well. Try to make attractive wiring. That's one of the things I want to bring to this project is I want to show everybody that you too can make attractive underplay fields. So there you go.
Yep. And kind of to that note, later on in our schedule for streams, one of the things that we'll be kind of messing with is creating your own PCB light boards. For this project, we intend to design those light boards and publish the files so that you can have them produced. Or maybe we don't know any of this yet, but maybe we work on sourcing them in a large batch to save on shipping. You're not really going to save on tariffs, but then, make it a little bit easier for people in the US to access to build their own game. So that'll be coming in one of our future live streams, probably a few months out, where we'll be designing custom PCB light boards. Okay, so Nick's was physical ball lock. Does anyone know what Alex's ideal feature was?
He said kickback also.
Did he?
No, I made that up. That wasn't true.
I want to steal a shot off of his Trogdor game, like that one like loop shot that hits off the captive ball and makes a left turn on its own. He's got some rad stuff in that game.
Stealing frog door.
That is a fun shot.
No, don't do that. Don't tell him I said this.
Okay, I won't.
Don't tell him I said he did something super awesome in his game that I think about all the time when I stand over a playfield to make a game, going, how can I do that too without looking like a ripoff?
Okay.
And,
Yeah,
and I'm
got it
seeing
documented.
some great mech and code ideas in the chat, which is fantastic, right? Because this is what people like. You have the layout, you start spitballing ideas, and people just go nuts with what the stuff, and the sky's the limit, right? For the
Yeah, I
game.
mean, we haven't even thought about like theme integrated mechs yet. Like right now, we're talking about like from our past experiences with pinball, things that we have liked and we would like to see in our game. So like, physical ball lock could be something like, a whiskey barrel, or it could be, a moonshine. What do they call it? Wart chiller or whatever.
A still?
Still.
Yeah, but isn't that like the wart chiller? The I don't know.
I don't make a lot of bootleg whiskey, so I don't know.
There's not really
or,
wort chillers
or an
there. but-
outhouse that poops out the ball.
Yeah, shitty outhouse is great.
The sky's the limit, man. The sky's the limit.
Love the ideas though. Chat is awesome. You guys are rock stars.
Regarding what I would like to see in the game and something that I've found to be fun, especially with how it's been integrated in my homebrew, some of the production games out there, and also Ernie's homebrew, is not the Magna Rail.
Cease and desist?
Nope, it is power inlanes, or as I like to call them, power lanes. And those are inlanes where you take like, instead of like a traditional outlane, you move that in one, and then you have your widest lane become a power fed inlane that like speed feeds down to your flipper, whether it's like some sort of a orbit feeds into it or what have you. Finding a way to do a fast feed to one of those outer lanes that then fast feeds to your flipper catches you off guard. I think that's a really fun concept to add some, like, kind of like the egg off kickback, add a little bit of elements to keep you on your toes. Okay.
Like it. This game is going to be great.
It's going to be so cool.
So cool.
So core shots or features people might expect. I mean, we kind of talked through some of that, but, you're going to have orbits, ramps, I don't know, all of your standard components, slings, pops, that kind of stuff. Geometry, we're not doing, like, I guess a traditional fan layout because we're going to have Aaron's upper flipper in there. It still could be, I guess, but depending on how we lay it out, it won't be like traditional fan.
Nick is in the chat, the YouTube chat.
Arcane Moog?
Yep.
Why
He
isn't
made
he
it.
like Pickle Moog?
So the last thing I'll say, right, because we're butting up against our time, is we're talking about a lot of really cool things. We're spitballing ideas, and ideas are free, right? Talk is cheap, but the folks that you have on this call are the ones that are going to do it, right? So we're talking about these really cool mechs and these really cool things. It's going to happen. Like, this is a real thing. And again, I don't want to push the Patreon too much, but to be part of this, to be part of the inner circle, to map out some of these cool shots and ideas and things that would work really well in pinball, this is where to do it, right? Or you can just follow along. That's okay too. But you don't just have a lot of dreamers on this call. You've got people who do the work. I'm looking at the cabinet right now. I can't wait to start flipping this thing. It's going to be super awesome.
Agreed. Yep, and with that call to time, I'm going to move us on to the next segment here and kind of start wrapping up. So through this, we kind of made introductions, gave you a little bit of background on who we are, what we bring to the table, and what our vision is for this project. We revealed to you what our theme is for this game, which is going to be bootleggers. And with the mindset of this being completely open source, we are self-funding this. We're doing everything that we can to make this as accessible to you, the end user, as possible. And with that, what we really want to do is find a way to make this an opportunity for some up-and-coming artists in the pinball world. We want to, what we're doing is we're trying to seek partnerships with artists who kind of want to make a name for themselves, potentially get their name on a pinball machine, and work with us in developing the art for this game. We don't know like what the plans would be for compensation and all of that yet, but this is kind of an opportunity we're presenting, and it's like a call for artists trying to get people an opportunity to be part of this, get their artwork featured on this game for the cabinet, for the playfield, and things of that nature. I know, Kyle, you had written up a call for artists. Is there anything you want to say about that?
You got it, man. We are looking for professional, amateur, or startup artists who either want to make rad stuff, as Aaron likes to say, or wants to break into the pinball community. This is where you're going to do it, right? This game is going to be at shows. This game could potentially, again, we are looking way down the line, could potentially be on location, right? With an open source kind of crowd-fed layout. We are looking for somebody who I think we can comport with, who matches the vision that we have. So if anybody on the call now or watching this later either has an artist in mind or somebody who's watching this like, I think I could do that, we would love to hear from you, because nobody on this call can draw, at least in the little PinForge community. If we could draw, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. None of us can draw. We want somebody who can draw, and who can draw, I think, what pinball can and should be, right? So if you're thinking old school, that's awesome. If you're thinking new school, that's great. If you're thinking combination of the two, that's fantastic too. We can't wait to see what people come up with.
Yeah,
I think it'd be good to have some like production experience too. Like I think that getting art into a format that can then be sent to print. I think that having some skills along the idea of going from creative to actually get produced in a printed medium and stuff like that kind of experience is really useful, because as much as none of us here can draw, that next step is also a next step that would need to be handled as well. So, sure. I mean, even if like maybe your creative skills are not, what you feel like your strong point is, but some artists and you can handle production side. I mean, there's that end of getting the art done too, is how do you get it into a format that can be printed on playfields or printed on plastics and stuff like that as well. So that's always like a step that I think some artists have never dealt with before, that I know is an extra step as far as getting getting art from ideas onto games themselves.
Good point.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And we'll work with you through this process.
Yeah.
Like, as we step through the design, we'll work with you on like providing the DXF of the playfield once we have that into CAD. We'll work with you on, conceptualizing the art direction, things of that nature. Again, this is very like up to your interpretation on how you think a bootlegger's theme should look. As part of this call to artists, I think what we were looking for, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kyle, is just to like pick one of the main characters from the storyline, find some sort of a conceptual sketch of what that character would look like, and then submit it on our website, which is pinforgepinball.com. There's a link that was posted in chat. If you go to that website and scroll to the bottom, there's a place where you can submit your art for this project. And then we will review those. I think submission deadline, kind of what I had rough draft, is by the 1st of the year. So, like, again, this is just a sketch, like ideation, throw something out there, and then we're looking to choose an artist fairly quickly so that we can start working with you on conceptualizing the art and providing you DXF files as we get them created. And then I think one thing we can add to our website too is a page with kind of the story and synopsis, who the characters are, just so people can reference that as they're submitting their artwork.
Yeah, and I think we had a couple of the characters captured, but for everybody on the call, there's probably about a dozen different characters. You've got the good guys, you got the bad guys, you have the feds, you have the mafia, right? So what we were looking for was somebody who could draw either a character, a couple of characters, or all the characters, right? To see if that style is matches with what we have in mind with bootleggers. And again, I don't want to harp on this too much. I'll say it one more time and I'll shut up. If you're a Patreon, we welcome your input as part of the inner circle to figure out what this art is going to look like. And if you're a super Patreon supporter, you or your dog or your kids or your family could be part of the backglass or the playfield or the cabinet art.
Or in video mode.
Or in video mode.
On the dog note, thanks, Jake. I saw you subscribe to the Patreon. Appreciate that very much.
Oh,
And,
Maybe we'll have Jake in the game. He could be in the first dog to be in 2 games.
yeah.
I don't know.
Anything's possible.
3 games. 3 games.
And I think kind of on a similar note, we haven't really prepared anything regarding this, but I think a call for artists not only applies to like the physical, like hand-drawn or digital drawn aspect of art, but also when it comes to the audio part of it. I know that we had some comments in chat earlier about people wanting to help out with audio on this. So again, if you have ideas for audio, if you want to like talk with us or be part of this, join our Discord, talk to the team. We'll engage in some conversation with you on maybe if you want to submit some sound samples or some sort of a track for music or whatever. We'll work with you on that. So looking for any and all help. This is a community project. This is open source, kind of crowdsourced, I like to say. And we just got a great team of people to help push this along. Okay. And then with that, just want to kind of wrap things up here. I want to, first of all, thank everyone who made the call today, including those who joined via chat, Nick, and I saw Alex pop in for a minute there. But all of the team here, I want to thank you first and foremost for being willing to be part of this project, volunteering your time to help make this a reality. Not only your time, but your money. You're stepping away from family, you're stepping away from dogs, cats, what have you, and you are being part of this project. I appreciate that so much, and I can't wait to see what we build together. Secondly, huge thank you to all of you who have come to join this live stream, who have engaged in chat, who've liked our posts on Facebook, followed our pages, subscribed to us on YouTube. All of the usual zingers that everyone says, like, subscribe, follow, it helps. It goes a very long way in pushing this forward and making this a project that everyone sees, right? I don't know how the algorithms work, but there's something about it. The more engagement we get, the more people see the videos, follow this process, and be part of the project. So do what you can on your socials, help us out there. And then lastly, as Kyle said, if you do want to go the extra mile, you do want to support us and help push this project along, whether it's through, funding the mechs that go into a game or funding some streaming gear so that it doesn't look like Ernie sitting in a cave. Anything that you would like to do to help push this project forward and make the experience better for you, the end user, is appreciated by us. And any and all donations, either through PayPal or subscription through Patreon, that money goes back into the project first and foremost. We are going to try to find a way to compensate those who are fronting money for this and pay them back. But like I said, if we don't get that money, we all signed up for this. We know what we're here for. We are here to deliver a open source pinball machine for you. If by happenstance we get some funds from awesome people like Jake who subscribed to our Patreon, or was it Mike that donated to us through PayPal the other day. Like,
Mike!
that is just awesome. We love seeing the support already, and that money is going to be put to use in helping upgrade streaming equipment for some of these guys, or paying for materials to build these games, and that'll push us along faster. So that kind of summarizes, the socials. Call out. Had to say it. Sorry, but thanks for listening. Anything you guys want to add before I close?
I think it's only appropriate, given the theme, for not only our team, everybody else on the call. I think a cheers is in order. Have your glass, raise it. Cheers to this project. Cheers to everyone involved, and cheers to everyone joined us.
Yeah, cheers to everyone online. All right. So, with that, join us next week. Again, Monday night, 9 p.m., same place, same time. Same sexy guys on the cameras here. I forgot to turn the music back on, I just realized. Sorry it's been so quiet for you.
Kyle's dancing to the music in his own head.
Plus a couple sexier people will be in here with us hopefully Monday as well.
Thank God.
Yep, we should hopefully have the full team. Next time, we'll take our theme and feature ideas and start kind of brainstorming shot layouts, and we'll do that via the Miro application, and we'll all be in there kind of sketching up ideas as we work through this together. Again, thank you to everyone who joined. Thank you to the early supporters through PayPal and Patreon. We really appreciate you being here with us. And I guess here's like a signature outro. It may be stupid, maybe corny, but because when we build together, we forge what's next. Thanks for watching, and welcome to PinForge. Have a good night.
I love you guys.